Good evening everyone. My name is Aditya Chalisazar and I am a student of the Department of Energy Sciences and Engineering, MSc PhD, second year student, and I am contesting for the post of General Secretary Academic Affairs PG. So basically my vision or objective for the next year, should I get elected, would be to try to streamline many of the issues that the PG students of IIT Bombay are facing in terms of their academic life. So this vision, I have broadly broken it down into three different parts. One being streamlining the process for PG students in terms of the implementation of the rules, and also in terms of facilitating certain issues that they encounter in their day-to-day life. On the second front, I would also like to work towards expanding upon the kind of reach that IIT Bombay can have in terms of the academic work that is being done, in terms of publicizing of the work that is being done amongst the students in the industry and to the general masses. Last but not the least, I would like to work upon increasing the reach of the academic council, and I have outlined several points that encompass work that is already currently being done in the academic council, as well as ideas that I think could be implemented in order to streamline the academic life of the student. And if elected, I would like to work to the best of my ability and that of my team in order to try to make this vision that I have into a reality. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Is it loud? It's not loud, right? Yeah. So, good evening, everybody. I'm Aparna Raj, and I am a second year PhD student from the Center for Policy Studies. And today I am there before you as a candidate for the elections, for the general elections of 2019. And I'm competing for the post of General Secretary Academic Affairs PG. So to start with the concerns that we have, let me get back and give you a fair idea of who I've been. I have a background from engineering and management, and then I came into studying policy in IIT Bombay to a very new center, and the problems that I had witnessed by being part of the council also for the past 2 years were many in its on fact basis. So then I thought about how I could help the council in the third year that I was going through, and I then decided to contest for the elections. So what I found is that we have a lot of issues which our PG community has been facing over the years. And if we talk to the students, this same issue can be seen coming up again and again from the past, and even this year, for the manifesto that I had, also the concerns were not changing. So our past analysis or historical analysis showed that our concerns maybe were at risk, but we were not being told about it on a transparent or accountable basis. So I aim to place my manifesto on 3 points. That's accountability, transparency, and credibility. I aim to work for the betterment of the facilities that the PG students have in the campus. I want to hope for a better future, and for that I need the support from all of you. And to go into specificities also, I can talk about some of the problems that we have been encountering, or the students have been telling all of us for the past. It includes the difficulties in having ample spaces, ample facilities in the department, the difficulties in getting financial aid for equipment acquisitions. We have the near future. We have been facing many difficulties which were related to stipend dispersals. And stipend dispersals, for that instance, have been going for many different, for students who are availing different scholarships also. So to look into that also, we need actually a lot of effort from the council side as well as from the student side. Then, and we have to look into the matter of why, if such solutions were found out in the past, why have the students not been aware of it? So this was one of the concerns. And then many issues, like one of them I put in my manifesto was to create a photocopy facility, in fact a stationery facility near our academic area. Yeah. So this has been coming in the past also. So going into the manifesto, I request all of you to support me in my endeavor and in my position as General Secretary for Academic Affairs, PG. Thank you.
The next we'll have manifesto debate. Each of you will ask a question. You will be given 3 opportunities to ask a question to the other candidate based on their manifesto. You'll restrict yourself to the manifesto. Once the other candidate answers the question, you will have 5 chances for rebuttal. Total will take approximately 4 minutes. Keep your answers short and clear. Okay. We'll start with Aparna. You can ask the question.
Yeah, Aditya, I read your manifesto, and being a part of the current council, I feel that you have actually stated in your manifesto that you'll be carrying forward most of the activities that the past councils have undertaken. So my first question to you is, what apart from continuing the activities of the current council and not discussed in the past in any of the PhD master's wings, do you propose to do in your tenure? The specific things that you would like to propose, which we don't know.
Okay. So the first thing that I would like to do, which has not been done in the past, would be to work towards trying to reach out to the general populace of the country through trying to through every daily newspaper has a science and technology column, and a lot of them currently are interested in the kind of research and the kind of activities that are happening across the educational centers in the country. So till date, I have seen very few such instances of information being dispersed amongst the general public, and IIT activities have largely remained a mystery to a lot of them. So in this term, I would like to work towards creating an archive of publications and the work that is being done, and if this work is deemed worthy of being included into some general information, then such a dispersal can be done in coordination with some of the institute bodies such as the Public Relations Office.
Yeah, to add on to the point which you said, I would like to say that, do you have any idea of how much we've gone into this issue currently? There are things which we can see in the campus, so I know something's happening and how much they are happening. So what is your take on that?
So the things that are currently happening are largely limited to a select group of individuals who have been involved in projects that have gained certain amount of recognition in the media bodies. And a large amount of work that is happening somehow has not reached the general masses. So a couple of people have actually suggested that if there is some new work that is happening, they would like to be acquainted with it so that they have an idea where the current status of research stands.
So if we go and look at the different departments, the notice boards of most of the departments, all of them display their projects which came out. So it's actually not very guessing number. And in the past year itself, we have a lot of, if I say it's more than, it's more than 20 which came in the newspapers from different departments. I was just telling you that this is actually happening, and let's see how. And especially the data center, they have it coming up very quickly. So I was just adding on to your point. And shall I go on to my next question?
So to add to whatever you are saying, again, my point being that there is a very select group of people who are continuously updating their reach through the media. Even so, the data center, for example, does very frequent features in a lot of papers. But again, there is significant work that is being done aside from data center, and there are a number of other places also where work is happening which can easily be published in terms of the innovativeness of the work and the ingenuity of and the simplicity of the work. So my point would be to try to expand on whatever is happening. There is some work that is happening, that's true, but at an institute level, through the student community, there is still something more that could be done.
Yeah. So shall I go to my next question?
So my question would be that in your manifesto you have mentioned in a point that you would like to work together with the Hostel Affairs Council in order to look into the placement of the whiteboards. But in what hostel did you find this particular issue?
Are you asking me the number of the hostel, or can I say it's one of the PG hostels? So I would like to keep the identity of the person who disclosed that information to me a bit private.
You can mention the hostel number. There's
Okay,
one
so
between
it's hostel number 12.
I am a little. So my question would be that. So was the student specifically asked to pay for the whiteboard? Because from my understanding, if the whiteboard is being placed in the hostel, it is going to remain even after the student has vacated that room. Then shouldn't the hostel actually be allocating funds for that in the budget? So in the manifesto you mentioned that the students were asked to pay for it, but still they have not gotten the facility.
Exactly, my point was that I was actually looking into it. So if it is going to be an asset which the student is not going to take away with him. So if I can give an example, I should tell you that I told you that I have a background from management. So in one of the Indian institutes of management, we have whiteboards in our rooms, and these are permanently placed in the room. So neither does the student take it out and go, neither do we manhandle it. We just use it, we leave it, we go. And even if we change the room, we are sure that we'll have a whiteboard there. So in that instance, if the students of hostel 12, 13 or 14 have been asked to pay for the whiteboard, we should definitely look at that.
But from what I understood, the funds were allocated from the hostel side and not from the student side. When I asked in the PG hostels, none of them actually mentioned that they were asked to pay for.
the correction. Hostel 12, I'm not sure. From what I understand, none of the other hostels were not asked to. And even in hostel 12, I think it came from the funding that hostel had. I think that clears the.
Then we have I would say that then we have another issue here. We are funding it, but the students are feeling that they are paying. So that's another issue. So I think that's what I again come back to when I transparency, accountability and credit. Back to my answer. My So my second question would be what could you please elaborate on how you plan to initiate more non-technological talks in the campus? Because it was our manager's mind.
So the way I have looked into this issue is that there are a number of talks that are being organized across the institute which deal with non-technological aspects. For example, Center for Policy Studies recently had a number of lectures that were organized. I happened to attend one of them. But my personal understanding of this thing was that the number of people who are able to find the time from their other commitments as PG students, the coursework and the lab work is significant. And the way these issues could be these talks could be organized would be to look at issues that the departments are facing, or maybe related to the department per se. So in that case, I have a feeling that the specificity of the topic would get greatly enhanced, and people would find a degree of connect with it. And in that case, if we are able to, so in that case, looking for speakers who are working in related fields but not really technical aspects of it would actually enhance the understanding of the far-reaching aspects of the work that the students are doing to the members of the postgraduate fraternity.
So to give you the details about the data which we get from a simple look at our GPO in mailboxes, I would say that it's not just my center like CPS who are conducting such talks. And just in the previous 2 months, I would say December, and let's forget December, I would say January, we had about 50 talks from various departments, not just CPS. CPS conducted only 2-3 talks. Yeah? We also have the Institute Distinguished Lecture, which happens in the Institute. So that was also non-technical. We had our past justices from the High Court, Supreme Court coming in. We had almost everybody. Many people from important positions coming in and giving talks, but attendance there is not great, I would like to say. So we can't say that we don't have non-technical talks. It's yeah. One more thing, and in January itself, various departments. I go and attend in a department if I get the time, if I don't have classes, I mean. So civil department, I remember going to the civil departments not for one talk but a few talks which were not technical. I am an electronics engineer, I'm an electrical engineer. So for me, civil becomes difficult, so that happens. I'm telling you, we have no technical talks.
I'm not saying that we don't have technical talks, and I took CPS as an example because those are the posters that are still around in some places. So that is the first example that has come to my mind. I don't deny that there are a lot of talks, but again, my point exactly is that the attendance is a very small fraction of the total number of people who could be reached out to. Should it be done at a more personalized scale, more department specific scale? I understand what you are saying, and I do agree with that. There is a lot of work, a lot of organization that is being done, but the kind of reach that it could have is something that I feel is lacking. And maybe if we explore the kind of needs the students have, we can actually look into getting a much better turnout for the speaker from the point of view of the students.
Yeah, I get it. Maybe you're a department. Yeah. So next question.
Keep it out of the inside. Keep this out of the recording. You guys are taking a lot of time to answer.
Okay,
So, sir, Aditya?
So in your manifesto, you have mentioned a point where you would like to increase the coordination between the academic and account sections in the main building. So could you expand upon what you propose to do about that?
So specifically what I meant was that I'm a part of the council this time. I told all of you about that. So there was an issue which came up not from my department but from one of my sister departments. I went to the academic council, not academic council, I'm saying account section as well as the administrative section for clarifying a doubt, and the first thing I was asked that you are nobody to ask us. That's not the way we should proceed. Yeah? So they said that we'll only listen if it is the GSEC who is telling us. So specific answer to that was
But in your manifesto, you are mentioning that you'd like to work towards increasing the coordination. So do you have something specific in mind?
yes. So one of the steps that we can do is a very easy step, just to get them accustomed with who the people of the council are, and they should understand that each and every person of the council is representing the larger interests of our community. That is possible. Just maybe a face-to-face session or an introductory session through the email would also be awesome.
The factual correction. Introduction through email is done. It is usually sent to all the heads. It's just that it doesn't percolate to the rest of the.
If I may just point out something, even I have been a member of the council this year as an executive member, and the thing is that a lot of people from the master's side, the council where I am, so the part of the council where we are working, a lot of people go to the academic and account section on a very frequent basis, and honestly, we've never faced that issue. So whenever we go to get some work done, the staff is quite cooperative, and we do manage to get redressals to our issues in a reasonably fast fashion.
So here, taking time for getting certificates, etc., are actually an exercise. Not just one person. Many people have told me that if they have a sudden scholarship or a conference to attend to, and they have to get these NOC certificate or some this certificate from the institute, etc., it's not done. It takes a lot of time. So I'm not saying that everybody is out there, but there are people who, because it's actually an HR issue. So different people look at different departments issue. That's what I'm saying.
I'd just like to point out that my question was not intended for that particular point about certificates and other clarifications. I just wanted to add 2 more words.
My turn. My third question to you would be, what is your take on performance scholarship to the students? We had discussions regarding that in your manifesto, and how do you plan to motivate our students for that?
So a tentative idea that I have had, this is not a part of my manifesto, but
IT is factual correction. She's talking about MSc PhD fellowship, I'm thinking.
Yes.
but okay. To clarify, that point addresses a different kind of work that is going on. So the council is currently working on a proposal to, so presently what happens is that if an MSc PhD student CPI falls below 6.5, then there is a total cutoff of their stipend. There is no reduced stipend. So the current council has been working upon a proposal that will allow the students to get a reduced stipend instead of deducting the entire amount for a period up till which their CPI again reaches the required standard. And so that is the particular aspect that that point is addressing.
Actually, I know about the proposal and what our council is doing on that. So what I wanted to ask you was your perspective. Like, what did you get from the groundwork which if you have done with the students?
So I'm an MSc PhD student, so this is one of the issues that comes up quite frequently in our department. So most of the people whom I have spoken with on this issue, not from just my department but from sister departments who have MSc PhD, they do seem quite open to the idea of the reduced stipend as opposed to a complete shut-off, and in fact they seem keen to be working doubly hard if that could be made as a promise to them, or if that could be given to them in some document saying that if your work reaches the level again, then till you reach that you will get a reduced stipend.
The next session is the topic debate. Sorry, yeah. Cut that out. There's one more question.
We'll cut it in the edit.
Yeah, I did it out.
Okay. So my question is relating to the point on your manifesto which says that there are certain issues relating to Inspire CSIR loan disbursal. So what exactly are the issues that you have found out, and what do you propose to, or rather how do you propose to address this particular issue?
So more than I trying to address this issue, I'm a TA, so I don't know what's going on inside of this. So for that, I need more resources, which I feel I might be able to address if I become the GSEC. So coming to the first part of your question, how I got to know about this loan disbursal issue, there was students, yeah.
See, factual correction. Repeat your question again. I didn't think. Start from the beginning. I don't think your question was clear. Answer. You can answer the whole thing again.
So my question would be relating to the point on Inspire CSIR loan disbursal issue that you have mentioned as the first point on your manifesto. My question is, what exactly according to you is the issue that students are facing with regards to this, and what are the steps that you would like to take to correct this, to address this issue?
So as I said, I would answer your second part of the question first. Now, I am not one of the CSIR inside fellows, so I am a TA here. So for me to understand more about this issue, I would, if I become the GSEC of the PG community, then maybe I can look more into this issue. And back to the first part, what the students told me about the difficulties that they face regarding the fellowship dispersal comes down to the fact that the students are asked for, you are provided loans by the scholarships. But these loans at times become a process where you have to first spend the money and then they reimburse. But these reimbursements take time, or maybe there was a few students who said that they never got it.
Can you repeat the last part?
Students actually told me that there are areas where they have to spend first. It's like a loan which comes after you spend it, and then they can repay the loan in parts. We have to look into the issue. I am not one of these fellows, as I said earlier.
Okay. It's not accurate. I would not want to get into the details here, but what you said is not accurate. See, pause it. So the thing is,
So my topic is internships for MTechs.
MTP is for pushing the students towards research, and it is very important in PG. it has 90 credits, so it is academically important as well. Uh, but students want to go for internship. Now, a committee is going to deliberate on the matter. What is your opinion, and how do you plan to weigh these two things, whether the importance of the research and the importance of the internship, and what are the options that you want to propose or you would like to propose in future?
For this particular issue, there are a couple of aspects that the Academic Council looked into this year. So one of the ideas that we had was to propose a way by which a part of the project could be a part of the credits that have been allocated to the MTP could actually be considered in terms of the internship that they are doing, provided they do it in a field that is related to the kind of work that they're going to work in their project. But this somehow limits the kind of internships that students can take. So, an alternative scenario that is being considered is that instead of it being one entire stretch of an internship, we could try to approach people who could break the internship down over the winter break and then over the summer break, since that would actually increase the amount of time that is available for students to focus upon their MTech project.
Yeah, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Yeah. So, do you know whether this issue has been sort of asked for some explanation in the past? Has this issue come up in the past?
So this issue has come up in the past, and in fact it was one of the proposals that was debated in the academic year 17-18 as a proposal that was submitted to the EGPC, but a number of departments did not in fact ratify it, or they did not believe it would have been possible under the current circumstances to bring it up. In fact, that was also one of the starting points for the work that the Masters wing of the Academic Council was working toward, which is why we did explore a number of scenarios, and after that an intimation was given to us saying that there is a committee that is actually going to be looking into the various aspects of this.
Factual correction. The committee was born out of the proposal made by the PGAC, and not something that came up later.
Okay, can I add on to that? So, I'm just telling you something which I got. This was not for the first time discussed in 2017. It actually came back in the 2010s, 2011, 12, and 12, 13, when actually they made progress. They reached the dean, and dean at the point of time actually clarified that there was no need for any external interactions for the students, because they said that we have the facility, or whatever the explanation was, it's actually not required. But I'll just tell you, it's not the first time it came in, and then we actually went forward from, I can say right? Yeah. So then we actually went forward, and then we had this internship cell coming up, and all those issues happened before classrooms. Right?
So my understanding was that this immediate discussion that you asked whether we had brought this up in the past. No, so this is the most recent instance, which is why I.
Your topic. Your topic.
Oh yeah, my topic is COSTAG.
Co-stacking is a recurring issue which causes problem towards the end of the program, and because PGs have a varied program across different departments, and because ASC is still catching up to the changes in the program, it becomes a problem for students. How do you wish to handle it? Also, additional learning tag is not available for PGs during the registration. What is your opinion regarding the matter? How do you what do you propose to do about it? Pros and cons if you make it available.
So first of all, this issue has been told to me from different departments at different levels. Actually, the issue they face are different in different departments. So at the time of registration, many students, I asked them this question also, do you want it available at the time of registration? Because they said that we don't want it at the time of registration, but we would definitely like to have it after the first semester. Yeah. So then they said that this additional learning course can be activated only if they complete the required number of courses. So apart from that, they will not do it. Then there was a particular department which told me that they had to complete all their courses in their first 2 semesters. In the next 2 semesters, they have to focus only on their project. And at that point of time, even if they want to do extra credits, like we have the clause for the UGs that if you have a CPA higher than 8, you can go for additional courses. So not even that facility is available. This I got to be handled. Yeah. So how I was supposed to handle it, right? So first of all, we have to see whether ASC can handle the situation. There were a few departments, not one, a few departments for whom this, especially for the PhDs, this option of additional learning was not available, even if they have completed the required number of courses. So that also should be looked into of why ASC is not taking that issue. And then if going with the offline mode, if it people are really happy with the offline mode if the online is not working. But they would also like to have that to be enabled online. Even if you need your professor's permission, why can't we enable it online?
Currently it's available online once they finish the coursework. It's available online.
That's what I said, a few departments are not getting that option.
It's available online, it's just that few departments do not update their course details.
Okay, then maybe we should talk to these departments in person.
These are department specific issues. The course they don't update it properly, and because of that, otherwise it's online.
So maybe all
across the departments.
Maybe we can talk to the department.
In this, I would just like to point out that number of so the MSc program currently does not have the option to tag, for the simple reason that the kind of tags that we give courses, the way the programs are structured, they really do not have the time to take additional courses. So in case they have this kind of an issue, then they need to take the offline mode in order to do that. In fact, even for a number of PhD students, that is the issue if they want to do it in the middle of the program. In fact, there are also a couple of errors that arise. In fact, when people are registering during the semester and they get the last part of the registrations where there is no particular tag that is assigned to the person when they are supposed to choose it. So a couple of issues that have come up in this academic year is no. So what people do is, if by mistake they tag it in a different fashion, instead of writing it as as an elective, they put it as a core course. Then there is then the tagging attempt, should they use it, would get counted because they are only allowed to tag it once during the entire duration of the course.
See, you both don't get the point. The question was straightforward. The additional learning and the course tagging issue, and how would you handle it? You spent 2 minutes describing what the issue is. How would you handle it?
I told you, no? Handling the issue,
No.
students.
Talking about him specifically. Cut it out maybe. But this is a general instruction to both of you again. Be specific when you mention a problem. I mean, even if you want to give examples, give 1 or 2 examples and then you mention, this is how I would like to handle it. Okay? Considering this is not a factual correction, this will not go in, but this is a general instruction that I'm giving to you. This, when you discuss, you're not on point. You should be on point, even when you're campaigning. Be on point. Yeah. You have some rebuttal?
I told you that I thought it was something about something else.
Okay.
minus PGUG post level.
Recently, PGPC, UGPC both decided to do away with the restrictions that come with the numbers. For example, PG students cannot take certain below certain number of numbered course. Yeah, and they can take it, but it won't be considered as their credit requirement, right? So that has been done away with. Now discuss the pros and cons according to you.
About the taking away of the course. Till now we had that PGP students are not supposed to take the basic level courses and that it would not be credited. Yeah. So.
No. Okay, I'll rephrase the question again. Up till recently, PG students were allowed to take 5 and above level courses, and it has been done away with. Discuss the pros and cons of this policy change according to you.
Yes. So, mostly one of the things that the PG students said was that if there is an interdisciplinary student, for that student, it becomes very difficult to maybe start with a course from a higher level. So they usually need to do a lower level course. So I would take it as a pro that this policy had been done. So students are also supporting the fact that if we are able to, just what I said, if there is an engineer coming into a humanities background, then it makes sense to take a lower level economics.
Cons of this, and whatever the
To go with the cons, I wouldn't say that there is any con in learning more, getting more idea of what we see in the society. I would say that, yeah. So I would say that as for the cons part, the pro actually outweigh the cons. So whatever the con is, maybe the only con that we can look at is like overburdening of the student in taking an excess course, and maybe the student spends time in a course which might not be of much higher value. It might just be in building the basics, but students are going for a course which can give them better basics.
Can I state a con of this?
Yeah.
Okay. So currently, a certain number of departments have courses that can be taken by both UG and PG students, but they are numbered in a different fashion. And because the numbering is different, the grading which is done by the instructor is also different. Now, if that issue is taken away altogether, then there will be just a single course. And there is a whole spectrum of students who are there inside a class, and the concept of relative grading being done for two separate numbered courses was actually a very big saving grace for a number of students who are taking introductory courses, as you said, in interdisciplinary programs. But doing away with that will really change the entire dynamic in the way the grade points are assigned to students. For example, there is a course like CS 101. We repeatedly have been getting queries that there is no separate grading that is being done, and in fact the students are facing a great degree of strain because there is just common grading and they are supposed to take the same field that is being taken by first year students.
I think that we were keeping to another question. You were asking? Yeah, so if it is the grading which is a concern, then that has to be taken up with the different officers who are getting the system, and I feel that
Professors cannot, two factual corrections. One is if the students want to take the course, they can still take a lower level course. It's just that it won't be credited to them, as they can't use it as a credit requirement beyond a certain limit that's been put by the program. The second is professors cannot grade differently.
that was my doubt which I had to
No, they can. So basically, if the courses are numbered different, MSc was converted to a PG program very recently. There are still some work to be done for the complete transition. Can you name a few things that you would do to push this transition along, and why? Name a couple, maybe three.
Okay, so this is an issue that I have personally worked on during my term as an executive member in the academic council this year. So one of the problems that was highlighted this year is that despite the fact that there is an official document saying that MSc is considered to be a postgraduate degree, there is a disparity in the amount of coursework that PhD students who are coming with an MSc are required to do. It's actually much higher than what people coming with an MTech background are required to do. That is one example that needs to be addressed. And in fact, we are already in the process of making or drafting a proposal for this particular agenda. And in fact, it's almost being completed.
No, few more.
Um, and the analysis of the rule books actually give number of places. So this, what I gave was just one instance of a rule that is present in the PhD rule book. In fact, there are several rules that are there regarding the selection of courses that that are there, the courses that can be taken by a student, and the kind of electives that can be taken by a student. There is a number of, so every rule has to be analyzed, and in fact that is what we are doing. We are going through the rule book and identifying cases that need to be amended, and in fact we are in the process of drafting out proposals to correct that issue.
Yeah, so I'll just ask you to clarify on something and then I'll say my stand. So what do you think is the difference between an MTech and an MSc? MTech and an MSc?
So previously it was believed that students coming with an MSc background are not doing equivalent coursework to a student who is coming after doing an MTech background, for the reason that BSc plus MSc turns out to be a 5-year program, while BTech plus MTech turns out to be a 6-year, if you're considering a 4 plus 2 kind of an issue. So they believe that a higher amount of coursework was merited because there is this discrepancy in the year. But the way MSc programs are structured, if we go by the number of hours, the effort and the credits that are involved, they are nearly the same whether you do a BTech, an MTech and a BSc MSc, which turns out to both 320 because that is what the government has mandated. So that kind of a discrepancy in today's time is actually creating certain number of issues, since a lot of people are spending a year and a half just mired with coursework, when in their PhD they are also expected to do a lot of lab work, they are also expected to do certain amounts of TA duty, and in fact some of them are instrument TAs, so that is also a kind of issue they are facing. A number of people who are coming as CSIR fellows with an FA category are facing issues because they are supposed to juggle coursework, lab work and other kinds of TA duties. So this is one of the issues.
So just clarifying what I asked you actually, so the basic difference between an MTech and an MSc actually comes from what we study, okay? The MSc person is actually somebody who is the research oriented, and BTech, MTech, if you are taking it as a dual degree, that again constitutes only 5, but then MSc guys, even when they come from a research oriented atmosphere, they are asked to more credits. I agree with that very much, but the difference lies in the fact that MTech people are trained for planning, classification, analytical analysis, and the knowledge of complex tech systems, etc. While the MSc guys actually get into problem solving, independent research, and things like that. So one point which was clarified by the authorities were that MSc guys, when they take more courses, maybe they can bridge these gaps in knowing some systems which the MTech guys don't know in that extent. But I also say the fact that overburdening them with a different set of credit requirement is wrong.
I would just like to add to something as a different point. So the thing is that when PhD students are working with a guide, the guide already imposes a certain number of restrictions in terms of the coursework that they are expected to do. A guide often puts their own requirements, saying that a person should, if you are working as a PhD student in my lab, you also should be doing X, Y, Z number of courses. So they do a lot of independent coursework already during the course of their PhD as audit courses, as additional learning courses. But miring them with a compulsory credit requirement when they're already going through qualifiers and other courses which are mandated by their guide is something that needs to be addressed. So even though like that kind of a distinction may be there, but the work that they are doing is an extension of.
Right.
They also have done project work, right? When they are doing their masters.
That's what I'm saying. MC guys come with even a better preparation themselves.
True, they do come, but they
Okay, so I think it's understood. So let's go to the insight questions. Yeah, so who went the last time first? You went. Now Aditya asked Aditya first. Come here, come. Take this. और 15 मिनट लेट आएगा नहीं हम उस टाइम पे आए थे तो बुकिंग हो रहा था वो टाइम पे हमने कॉल किया था मैंने वो थे नहीं
हेलो लेकिन वो टाइम पे आप लोग कुछ बात नहीं करा गया आप लोग
मैंने 7:45 बुकिंग किया था लेकिन 7:36 किया था 7:45 मांगा था लेकिन 7:45 मिलता नहीं है ना तो उन्होंने 7:30 से कर दिया
पता नहीं लगा
हाँ पता है
Why?
It's in the middle of
Why have you felt the need to educate students about intellectual property rights through mandatory training sessions?
A lot of work that students do when they are in a part of their PhD is proprietary. It's their effort, time, investment, and the idea that they are working on is there. There are a number of interactions that they do undergo while discussing ideas with people, which can lead to an infringement of the rights. There can be people who copy the work. So a person needs to be educated about to what extent can he or she share their idea as a researcher while they are interacting with people. In fact, apart from this, they also, so during the orientation each year, there is a fixed period where the Dean of R&D discusses all these issues. But there is so much information that is coming in during that day that it's difficult for people to focus on this very important aspect. That whatever work they are doing is in fact proprietary, that needs to be protected, and they need to realize what they can do to make sure that nobody else can claim credit for their work. In fact, academic honesty and plagiarism is an important aspect of this. So that is the reason why I believe that intellectual property should be protected.
Okay, my next question is, why do you think the academic council members in particular need to be sensitized and trained about Women's Cell Student Wellness Center?
Okay. They are all members who are interacting with a population of people who come from diverse backgrounds. The students who come in the first year have different notions about the way interactions are supposed to be taken into consideration, which may or may not conform with an individual's own ideas about it. They need to be aware of the situation that we are living in. In fact, we are living in certain uncertain times where the way we interact with each other is always under scrutiny. So it's better if they are also exposed to these aspects. They can be mindful of not hurting or doing something insensitive inadvertently.
My next question would be to Aparna. What constraints do department libraries face and how do you plan to address them?
Yeah, so some of the specifically saying department libraries face two issues. One is space constraint because we have a lot of students in each of the departments, but they are not able to use the library facility like being in their library and working. Second thing what they face is a non-availability of updated editions of different texts. Yeah. Do you want me to explain? So these two issues. Yeah.
How do you want to do
The next question is, what hurdles would you identify in the way the academic and cash sections function to disburse stipends, and what do you propose as a solution?
Could you repeat the question?
What hurdles could you identify in the way the academic and cash sections function to disburse stipends, and what do you propose as a solution?
So proposal solutions, we had actually looked into this matter as an independent body, not from the council side, but independently from the department side. So currently what is happening is that we don't have any set date for receipt of our stipends. We just have a range of dates for which we receive stipends.
Factual correction, PGSC has actually made a proposal.
Yeah, maybe a proposal is there. I'm talking from the other side. We don't know about what proposals are happening each time, right? So proposal might be there, but as of now we have only a range of receiving stipends. So I'll try to. This problem actually started when we migrated to the ERP. So we should look into that matter, and yeah, I did it, and I got that information from the independent thing this week. Yeah. Not.
So, now that it has come out, again factual correction. So this was discussed by the current council with the DDFEA. DDFEA had asked the current GS to make a proposal. Proposal has been made and it has been submitted to the review. I think last week.
Did I come back to that thing? Information dissemination.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
People, questions? I'll ask question. I have one question for each of you. I'll start with Aparna. You said you'll do you'll increase the transparency and you'll increase the reach and everything. How do you propose to do it?
How do I propose to do increasing transparency, accountability and credibility for that matter? So I would like to say that from the soapbox that we had, there were many instances when you told me that there are a lot of things which are work in progress. So it means that the council is doing work, but the students are not getting to know. And maybe the council is doing much better work than the students are perceiving them to be doing. So each time we have issues happening, periodically we can have a disclosure session or a disclosure information dissemination platform where we give information to all the students in the campus.
You know GBM, right?
I mean, we know about all these things happening. Why are we still getting back and saying that students are not having their concerns heard?
Question is, this is one of the most important thing in a GS's career. Would you agree? Soapbox, right? Soapbox, GBM, these are the places where you can get as much information as possible. People are still not coming. So how do you suggest you reach out? See, I understand that you want to reach out and through this process, but how do you make sure that people get that information, go through it? Because even student notices people don't read, right? And even PGSC has a page. We've stopped the activity there because
nobody was responding.
They don't see it. They just PGSC has
So here what I found is that even when we say that people are not responding, we can hear attendance is an issue in every platform that we have, be it an institute distinguished lecture, we don't have people attending it. So let's say that we have an online platform for each activity that we are doing. They might not be, even we ourselves, we have our academic commitment. So for all that, I believe that online platforms are very much, like live recording or live transmission of data is very much useful. Not in one time. So if we are recording the soapbox, nobody might be able to have made their presence felt here, but people will see it on. So if there should be, so then only can a council come forward and then say that, yeah, we have done this, but you guys didn't do it.
out your question. I didn't write it down. Remember it. Give me a manifesto. Yeah, I forgot the point I wanted to ask.
What's it too loud? No sound.
Loud is fine. Right. In your manifesto, you've said work towards the provision of academic assistance to first-year postgraduate students by point mentorship programs in collaboration with ISCP and IRSCP. Have you thought about the feasibility of this system, and to what extent are you going to implement this? Is it going to be institute-wide, department-wide, or case basis? Is it a standing structure? What I mean to say is it like a standing structure like DAM, DAMP, DAMP, right? Yeah, DAMP, or something that you are going to implement on a case-to-case basis? If so, have you seen the feasibility, and how are you going to find the academically well-trained mentors?
Okay. So while formulating this particular point, I have taken inspiration from a number of initiatives that have been taken by the previous council and DM. So in this particular point, when I say point mentorship, or rather to answer your second question first, how do I find academically trained people? Being PGs, I think we have a large number of people who are there in the campus for a longer period of time. That is the PhD students who have been TAs and who have a dearth of knowledge to give. And it's easy to identify people who are capable of giving sound advice.
Easy how? Now that's the question. How are you going to find them?
So, first is to call out for volunteers to see if there are people who are interested. The second would be to go along in a system where the number of students who come in a particular year are more or less same. So if the seniors are able to find a junior whom they can academically guide, and that can be extended to the number of postgraduate students that are there in a department. So, initially I would like it to be case-to-case basis and to see the extent to which it is successful, following which I would like to come up with a standing structure if it can be extended to institute level.
That concludes the SOAPBOX. Thank you for attending, and thank you candidates for participating in this endeavor. All the best. I'm very happy. At least I'm not confused.
Good day to everyone. As we now look forward for the general elections of 2019-20, I request all of you to support me in my endeavor to contest for the post of General Secretary Academic Affairs PG. As I request all of us to look forward to a system, we have to realize that we have a system which is continuously in improvement, and that we have to bring our system, which is a work in progress, to reach conclusions about itself. So, let's take the step forward to know about our concerns, which we have been expecting or we have been getting through every day, to know about our concerns which we had already raised and to know about their status as of now, and to know about what happened to those problems that we have raised again and again to the same platform. So let's hope for more transparency. Let's hope for a system which will help us update it
let's hope for a system which gives us solutions at a faster rate than that what we have been getting through as of now. Thank you everybody. As I sign off, I request all of you to vote for me again, Aparna Raj, for the post of General Secretary, Academic Affairs PG. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Throughout this year, as I have worked in the Academic Council, I have come to know a number of issues that we as postgraduate students face. And a number of these issues which have been recurring and have been raised in the past are already being worked on. If elected, I would like to work towards making sure that these works in progress are brought to a completion, information regarding them is provided to you, and we can work together towards a system that can be more sustainable, more interactive, and one where we can enhance our interaction as a student community, becoming very dynamic. So through the ideas that I have presented in the manifesto, I envision a future which may not come in the next 2-3 years, but definitely a future that will be much better for us as PG students. So as I conclude this statement, I would request you to give me your support and help me bring our aspirations to reality as the General Secretary of Academic Affairs PG. Thank you everyone, and please vote for me, Aditya Chalisazar, as the General Secretary of Academic Affairs PG for the year 2019-20.